I'm going to take about 10 minutes, just really what the org chart is for some of you who, as you can see, half of you haven't seen it. Some of the top features that of the org chart. Okay, so I'm logged on here into a fictitious account. It's a restaurant business. And what will happen, under the org chart menu, if I click on org chart, it's by default, we only show you the top node and the first tier. You want to open different levels. As you can see, for example, for Percy, she's got 2 people reporting to her, 3 people. And we decided to make that vertical as opposed to this one here with Ellen. If I open the child nodes, they go horizontal. That's all customizable. It can be done at the global level. So all of them, I want it to be vertical, or you can do override. I want that branch to be vertical, this branch to be horizontal. So that's a quick feature there. You can also see how the information that we surface on the nodes is customizable. By default, we only surface the name of the person and their unique position name. And then after that, you can customize 3 more pieces of information. In this case here, this account chose to show the division or department name, as well as what we call the location in where they are at in the business. So different offices or sites. And there's a 3rd piece of information that you can also take advantage of. You can have up to 3. And also you can have the more where you can drill into even more information, but because simply you've run out of room here, but also you can make maybe more sensitive information be under the more as opposed to being on the node in case it's too sensitive for everybody to see it. So it's quite customizable from that point of view. The next point is the different node types. So a typical node would be a position. So this node is, for example, here is for a restaurant manager position, and we have 2 people, restaurant managers here. We have more, sorry, there's Ellen as well. That's the unique position name, and there's multiplicity of it. So that's what we call a position node, meaning it's got a position in it. There's other node types whereby if I, for example, go and say, okay, I want to create a new node under Catherine's, and I click on the advanced here. As you can see, I'll just zoom a little bit here. There's the node type there. So by default, it's position. But if I zoom a little bit there, show you, there's the position, there's a simple node, and there's a group node. A simple node is literally just like a placeholder, a block with a name, just a card, a node with a name to it. And for some reason, organizations with fairly complex structure, they need it to make it work. They need that placeholder there to call it, I don't know, maybe name of a division or something, although, you shouldn't need to do that because divisions and business units and departments should be a tag, what we call the pillars. You shouldn't really need to do that. But nevertheless, we found some clients requested that. So if I do, just to call it placeholder, just for us to get the point across and create that node. Then, as you can see, if I open here, the child nodes under Catherine, here it is. So you can see it doesn't have the little circle there because it's not designed to have a person in it. You can only have things under it. It's just a placeholder in the structure to help you to structure the org chart in a way that suits your business. The other one is the group node, very powerful node. So if I do here under this node here, I want to add a node and I choose the group node as a type of node as opposed to the default one, the position. What it would be, I'll call it group node 1A. It's a group node. That means also you can see you don't have a person tagged against it, but you can have multiple people, multiple positions, just like these, but all within it. You have to go in here to view all the different nodes in it. They will be just inside, but we show you the stats on it. So if it's got 10 employees in there, we say it's got 10 people and the unique positions within it as well, which I'll show you here as well. A client requested it because they wanted the junior nurses within their business, within a particular facility, not to be saying this particular junior nurse is reporting to that senior nurse. They wanted to say the senior nurses, 5 people in our facility, they have 25 people reporting to them. on a particular shift, on a particular day or night, depending on the shift, it would be decided who the manager is. So they could not connect them one-to-one like anything else. So that's one scenario why we built that for them, but we've seen other clients using it for different reasons. It's apparently a very, very useful thing to have. So yeah, that's quickly now. We discussed a few different node types. If I go back to make sure I'm not, drifting from the agenda, the second thing I want to talk about is the connectivity, just at high level, the architecture or the data architecture of the org chart. The org chart is not replicating any information, so it's very, very much all about single source of truth. So it's connecting your employee database, your employees, with your unique position database. So as you can see, when we say we've got multiple restaurant managers, they're all tagged with the same unique position. If I go to my positions here, there'll be a restaurant manager there. Restaurant manager. You can have 10 people, as many people as you want. They're all tagged with that same unique position, where you would go into it and decide on the duties and responsibilities, qualifications, etc., and in particular remuneration, which award it's linked with, etc. All that is done once. Again, it's all about single source of truth. So I go back to the org chart, and that's probably enough on that point, guys. We need to keep going. Scalable, very, very scalable. We did testing for up to 500,000 nodes. It would work just as well because, as you can see, when we first open it, we don't just show you every node. What's the point of showing 500,000 nodes on your screen? You can only see about 5, 6 at a particular time. So you need to decide where you want to go. You start to drill into it, the different levels. But also it's got very powerful search that will work with up to 500,000 nodes. So if I'm looking for Greta, for example, I can just type 3 letters. I can see Greta there. Boom, it's going to zoom on it no matter where Greta was in your chart. It's super, super powerful. So that's the scalability aspect. We talk about sharing now for a moment. If I want to share, for example, Ellen, how many nodes she has under, yeah, that's a bit of a structure there. That's good. So I go, Ellen says, can you send me an org chart of my team? Instead of you collating now or doing some PDF dump of the org chart or whatever, you go, no worries. If Ellen doesn't want to log in herself, the chances are your managers will have access to it and they'll be able to do, what we will be talking about in a sec. They'll be able to get sensitive information about their own employees only. They'll be only able to do employee updates on their own employees. So absolutely the idea is to get the managers to log in. Nevertheless, you want to, someone says, I need some part of the org chart to be to use an attender or something like that. You just have to click on this node and click on the share, start the share, grab the link. The iframe is if you want to put it on your, for example, on your intranet, so you can put the whole org chart on your intranet. But nevertheless, this is a link that you can send in an email. Click on it, it puts it in a buffer already, just a matter of sending an email. But I'll show you what it would look like. So if I open a new tab and put that link in there, it's going to show you only that team. But it's functional. It's not a PDF dump. You can see it works 100%. You can zoom on it and stuff. The quality is not going to be deteriorated. It's just a functional actual org chart with limited functionality and only showing you that team. So they can do whatever they like with it, and you don't need to worry about doing all this admin support for them to the org chart, to the various people in the business. I hope this makes sense, guys.
We've got a question from Trish, actually.
Okay, yep.
Do you want to?
Absolutely. Thank you, Georgia.
That's all right. How can you move people's order shown under direct reports? For example, in your org chart, if you want Catherine to move to the left and before Greta, how can this be done?
Okay, let's go back there. Catherine and Greta. Okay. So let me just see. Catherine and Greta. Sorry, now that I've got them here, can you repeat that? If we want to do what? What's the scenario?
How can you move people's order shown under direct reports if you want Catherine to move to the left and before Greta? How can this be done?
I mean, left and right. It's a very good point. I'm just thinking as I'm going here loudly in a sense, Rachel. Trish, sorry. Catherine being on the left to Greta, it doesn't change any order in terms of reporting line. They're still on the same line. So maybe we misunderstood your question. What am I missing? However, to your point, if you really want to have that control, We, at the moment, I think it's alphabetic or something like that.
Okay.
So we should really allow you maybe to do that, but we can't do it right now, being on the same level. But certainly, if Catherine needs to be reporting to the CEO, or in other words, Greta needs to report to Catherine, that's another story. You can move the entire branch. So you can. So what you do here, if that was the question, forgive me if it's not.
Is that what you were, probably. one of
Okay.
those.
So in here, I'm pretty sure it's move. So I click on move, and I'll choose that this is going to, instead of being reported to the CEO, it's going to be reporting to, so to whom was it, the person we want to move it to? To Catherine, sorry, yeah. Where's Catherine in here? To Catherine. So I'll select this, I'll say yes, and it's going to build it. It's going to rebuild the whole index, the whole structure. It could take up to, 20 seconds. I'll just check. It's a matter of refreshing it. And that whole branch would have been moved. All the search will work again. Everything's just been rebuilt to be 100% functional with that new structure. Is that the question, or did we bark at the wrong tree?
She says, more so to group different areas in a company that sit together. I guess.
Group, I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
More so to group different areas in a company that sit together.
So, but what does it mean functionally? I'm sorry, just I'm not understanding what you mean. I'm sure that makes sense what you said, but you have the ability to move individual people as an admin person. But if a manager is doing it, they have to go through a workflow, what you call a change of conditions or cross-boarding. You can move a whole branch even. You've got all the tools to restructure this org chart the way you want. So what am I missing? I'm really sorry if I'm missing something there. I just showed you how we moved the whole branch. So now Greta is reporting to Catherine. And all the employees, everything's moved. It's all functioning again now. It's been rebuilt on that basis. Is that a good example or not?
Let us, we can maybe move forward. And Trish, if you've got any other questions, or
we can.
She says, org chart has been created, but I want to move employees left or right, have control of the order of them.
I just don't see how left and right is an order, because they're the same line. They report to the same person. Why do you feel left and right changes the order as opposed to the
perception of the reader?
Is that what she says?
Another user, Jane, and then Susie has said, I agree that being able to change the order. For example, I might want the facilities manager to sit in the next line to the cleaning manager. It's more of a visual perspective.
Okay, now I get it. So we agree it's not a matter of, they're still at the same level. It doesn't change much from the reporting line or... but I acknowledge that this is something nice to have. At the moment, we do alphabetic or whatever the order that we work with, or the order that they come in. Maybe this is what dictates now. But nevertheless, I acknowledge your point 100%. It can add value, but it's not available right now. Something we can definitely do. We just haven't got around to do it or become a priority. So thank you for that point, Trish. I acknowledge it 100%. Cool. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. We'll move on to the next point then, if we can. We covered the share and the info surfacing. I think we covered it at the very beginning anyway, how you can control what you want to surface on the node. So on top of, in addition to the default name and position, you're able to add 3 extra pieces of information of your choice from the customization point of view. That's what the info surfacing is. And then the up-to-date is, I think we touched on that as well, where it will never fall behind in terms of that whole concept that for an organization like any of yours, guys, to have an org chart, you need some admin work to keep it up to date. So in other words, I have 100 managers. They're all hiring and firing all the time. Sorry to use the word firing. Probably it's inappropriate. I apologize. Hiring and offboarding and, all the time. Therefore, on any particular day, maybe 10 changes happen to your org chart, and you need a full-time person if you're, 3,000 people organization or 5,000, 10,000 to just keep the org chart up to date. That was never on from the very beginning when we started to think about this about 4 or 5 years ago. We knew we will never do that. If that's what we end up doing, we don't want to start it even. We want it to be on the right side of history where it's always organically up to date. And so therefore you can see if I want to recruit someone to replace Catherine, or I want to make a change of condition to Catherine's record, I want to offboard Catherine, you start it from here, and therefore that org chart always stays up to date. If I'm filling a vacancy, when the person eventually, it keeps that node up to date. It says the vacancy, right now, these are requests to hire. The request to hire has been approved. The recruitment process is happening. There's an onboarding process happening. Onboarding pack is completed. And at the start date, that person pops up in the org chart. They pop up in the org chart as soon as the pack is completed, but then it shows you that it's a pending start date, and it shows you what the start date is. So it starts up to date all the time. You never have to, after the fact, add that person to the org chart or remove that person from the org chart at the effective date of the offboarding. It always stays up to date. Does that make sense, guys? On that point?
We've got a couple of questions.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Right. So Renee's asked, how would you best manage supernumerary appointments, i.e. acting higher duties, replacement positions, etc., without creating new positions?
Okay. When you say positions, as in a new node, in a sense, so the fundamental of one of the features we should have probably covered is the fact the same employee, if you've got one employee, and that is very, very much all our clients that use it have this requirement, particularly with the schools. The same person who's head of mathematics maybe is also the coach for the cricket team and doing other duties, etc. So the way we solved the problem that we felt is a lot better is to have that person appear in the org chart multiple times. Every time they appear, they are in a certain team doing a certain position that can have its own clearly remuneration, the contract, etc. So when you want to do updates, you can do updates pertaining to that position, that person in that position. So every time we talk about a position, it's a person and a unique position, and it's got its own remuneration. And that person can do one or more of those. Does that sort of answer your point? So that.
Yeah.
So if this person is doing 2 days here and 2 days there, 2 different positions in 2 different teams, reporting therefore to different people, they would appear in the appropriate teams, reporting to the right person, flagged with the right position.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do separate employee updates, change of conditions against that position, and separate against this, and separate offboarding against this, against that.
Mm-hmm. She's asked if someone is on long-term sick leave, but we don't want to offboard that individual, just have a casual backfill.
Yeah, you can do that. So what you can do, I think I've got an example here somewhere that shows how, okay, see this one, for example, you can see 2 people within the same node. This, I think, was done for the purpose, let's say you're trying to replace that person. They're leaving for some reason, and therefore they need to coincide, work together in that same position for a while until the person is offloaded. I guess that would be probably how you would use this feature for that purpose. There's probably some nuances to your point that maybe we have them, or maybe I can't explain right now. I just can't wrap my head around it. But I definitely acknowledge your point. We've heard it before. And believe me, if this is a requirement of yours, and let's talk about it, you'll find it's either there or we will be working on it to ready it. But I certainly acknowledge your point.
Lovely. Thanks for that, Renee.
Just don't have that brain power right now to zoom into it more than what I did. My apologies, Renee.
We do have a couple more questions as well. From Jane, you can surface 3 types of info on the node, but how many in total can be surfaced in the more section?
Oh, unlimited.
Unlimited, Jane.
But also don't forget, Jane, that you can drill into the employee record anyway, and then see clearly unlimited here information. It's all there, anything you want about the employee or the different positions they've had, the position history, etc., and all that. So that's all available. The more offers, it's really interesting when you think about it. I thought was a clever idea, and I'm not bragging, you might disagree, because it really it creates more level of access control. So the first level is the name and the position. Then, okay, the second level is the extra information, because you can, as you will see in a minute, part of the access control, you can say, I don't want people to see those extra information. Then I don't want people to see what's in the more. Then I don't want people to go into the actual record and see everything. But even when they go into the record, you can really say, I don't want them to go into this tab or that tab. I mean, really, the access control that we have is amazing. So I don't want to confuse you there. But I don't know, it just felt it's an interesting feature there.
Yeah, perfect. And the final question is from Mandy. Is there a way to have two positions at the top of the org chart? Our organisation has the principal in charge of the teaching staff and a director of operations in charge of operational staff.
Sure. So what I can do, for example, I can say I want to add another node here, and I want this to be above the, so we have a lot of companies where they want the board to be at the top, called the board. And then under the board, there's the CEO, who's sometimes the director or not. And we've got the other directors, but all the team is under the CEO. So I'll show you what I mean. Even when it's, it's almost finished, I'm doing it even under the fact, let alone when you first build it. So I can come here and say, I want to insert a node, but I want it to be above, not below. And I'm going to call this, let's say, the board. We'll just do this one that way. It's a position. I'm going to say, call it a simple node. That's another reason for the simple node, by the way, guys. Just say in here, board of directors, or just board, and add it. It's going to rebuild as well as to make sure all the indexing and everything's working. The search and everything else. I don't know why this is sitting loading here. Forgive me, guys, but it should be fine. We'll just refresh and hopefully here you go. So we've got the board. So what you can do now, add more people under the board. So for example, in my case, and forgive me if I'm not doing the exact case you wanted, we can do that in a sec. I'm just going to say we have here a director, but they're a non-executive director. They're not involved in the business. The CEO is running the business, yeah? So I'll put a position in here, or I'll keep it as a position, yeah, sure. And sorry, the position name here, I'll do non-executive director. We don't have that yet in the database. I'll create it on the fly. Non-executive director, perfect. I'll create it and done. So that now we have this here, but the whole business, all the employees still under the CEO. That didn't change much. Does that answer your point? Am I barking up the wrong tree, guys?
Mandy. Also, is there another export function that isn't PDF? Renee's asking. Can we do Excel?
Sorry, what's that? Did we get any response on that?
Mandy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. The question was?
Export function that other than PDF into the org chart.
Export or import? Export, yeah?
She's asking for export.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. Absolutely, yeah. So that's an export PDF there. Then if I go here, there is, with the export. So if I go and select the CEO, then I've got the export here. So that means I want to export everybody, because you can export different branches. If I want to only export that branch, you can do it like that. So it's very flexible. So if you want to export everything, you go to the top and do the export from here. And there's sort of slightly different types. This one shows you employees and position. This one, unique employees only. I can't remember the difference between those. Nevertheless, click on export, and that will send you an email with the when it's finished or something. How does it work? As initiated, you should receive an email soon. And I think there's a link in the email when it finishes. The Excel would be downloaded from a link to download it from the cloud. So definitely export. We take it very seriously, and we keep adding more and more features to it. Make sense, guys?
Yep. Got lots of questions rolling through.
Yeah.
Yes. So Mandy's just said they both have staff under them, and they sit on the same line at the top.
Well, I mean, the same line or not, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I've created a node in here because it's a hierarchy called board. You can call it, just put the company name in there, and then have two people, like the actual two people that will have real employees under them. I don't think it makes too much difference, and just ignore the top one if you don't want. It doesn't make sense, guys. It doesn't really change much. I can have someone under the board here, being CEO or whatever, and they can have 1,000 employees under them as well. We just need that top to make sure it's a tree, needs to have one root at the very top. That's all from the functional thing.
She says, thank you. I think, let's move into the privacy and access control feature.
Okay. Is there any survey you're doing or anything, segment or anything like that, or straight in?
Yeah.
Because we've been taking questions anyway,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
As they come through.
Yeah, fair enough. Thanks, Georgia. All right, guys. So Georgia said that we're going to move to the next interesting thing here, which is I'm really excited about. Basically, since we launched the org chart, a number of clients were really concerned about the privacy aspect of it, meaning they don't want the typical scenario that we get. We don't want how it starts, why the managers need to be in your org chart anyway, which is amazing, really. It's a compliment in the sense why there is a problem. I'll explain. I know it's convoluted. So it's a compliment from our point of view that the client's saying, wow, this is really neat product, and we feel comfortable enough that the managers would like it, so we can let them come in and start their own change of condition and offboarding requests and recruitment, for example, to take that, to reduce that bottleneck on HR to initiate all these things when the manager is best knowing that, instead of sending us an email with what they want to do and us having to translate and that's the bottleneck and the inaccuracies and the mistakes and the back and forth and calling and emailing and having conversations in the kitchen and whatever. So that's a compliment that they felt, wow, we would love for the managers to come in and do that themselves. However, when the manager is in, it creates the privacy issue. We don't want the manager to see what their peer is getting paid, for example, or even worse, people above them. And so that was pretty much a red line for a lot of our clients. We had some kind of solutions, so far in the last couple of years, but they really weren't flexible enough or easy enough to use or accurate enough in a sense. And so I'm going to show you right now what we just released last week, the final kind of iteration of the access control. So the scenario we're going to do is we have two managers, the restaurant managers, Percy and Greta, and we're going to log on as Percy and log on as Greta. And what you will see that Percy will only be able to access her own records, meaning her own employees, within her team members. And with access, that's a very interesting point in a very positive way, meaning it's so flexible. What does access mean, right? So you can say, okay, for everything else in your org chart, as well be in your org chart, that's Percy and Greta. We moved her under Catherine and Greta. So when Greta is logged in, the platform knows now that this user who's logged in, which is Greta in this case, is also an employee, which happened to be a manager, a restaurant manager here. And therefore, that's her own immediate team members. And the policy that we chose to enforce in here, and therefore enforce it to our managers, such as Greta and Percy, is whereby we only want them to access the sensitive information, such as that extra information you've surfaced, the more drilling into the actual employee record or doing any of the functions here. None of them need to be, they will not be able to do any of them for any node in the org chart except for their own team members, meaning what we call the branch, their own branch here, the node, the children node within their branch. Does that make sense, guys? The scenario that we want to do? Because that's, this scenario is pretty much was 80% of all the requests that we got from the clients, a common request from all clients pertaining to data privacy. Definitely there are more nuances. A lot of clients wanted something a bit more sophisticated alongside that. So they wanted that, but also, but we have this PA who reports to this manager. We also wanted to be able to have the same access. So that creates more complexity, but we found the solution as well. So that's what I mean. We really feel no matter what your access control is for the various users, we will be able to enforce it now. So without wasting time, let's show you what that means. But before I do that, let's do the before so you can see the after effect and how it works. So I'm logged on now as myself, and I guess I'm an admin person. So I guess I'm in HR. I'm the owner of the account, or an admin, same thing. And therefore, when I come here, I can do, I can go into any record. I can look at what was surfaced here and there, etc. I can start recruitment, offboarding, etc. for any record, right? Now I'm going to log in as Percy. And first of all, I've reduced the role that I created. I've created a custom role for this business, for this account, for the managers. And I've made it literally doesn't give them access to anything except for the org chart and the employee search. Okay, so you can see with the jobs, they're not seeing anything. Lots of the menu items that are grayed out and all that stuff, right? So I'm going to go into the org chart. And if I then go to, here's Percy, or I can search, by the way, guys. I'll just start again. The search is really powerful. So if you have 100,000 records and you're looking for someone who's 5 levels down, you can do it clearly drilling down. It's not a huge deal because you know the structure, 5 clicks, I guess, but you can just find them very, very quickly. So I'm looking for Percy, right? Here you go. It centers and it highlights the record and it's right there. So if I just to make sure, these are the children nodes, the team members under Percy. So let's test it. So Percy, want to try to access, first of all, do you remember all the information that was surfaced here? The property, the restaurant location, the work type for the employee and the department. She cannot even see them now for the other nodes. She cannot go into the record, no permission. She cannot start a recruitment or an offboarding, etc. So all that being removed, the more as well being removed, because that's how I decided to do it. Her role doesn't give access to any of that in general for all nodes in the org chart, except when it comes to our own nodes, everything is back. The more is there, the extra information is there. I can recruit, I can offboard, I can replace people, etc. I can request changes for pay change, etc., position change, any of the employee updates. And yeah, I can go into the employee record as well from here. It's all there. Can I get some questions? Does that make sense, guys? Because I might have gone too fast here.
No, that's great. We do have a couple of questions.
Excellent.
Jane's asking in regards to the privacy access, if one employee has 2 roles, so they are situated in the org chart twice, can both of the managers see all that employee's data in both roles, or can the access be split?
Yeah, we can. It's really customizable because I probably have to show you something. I do want to complicate it for you because what I'm about to show you guys is not something that every admin person has to be involved in. It's certainly not the managers. But even as an admin person, you know, you're in HR and you try and do your job, you've got a million things to do. And then someone says, oh, we've got a new manager that needs to access the platform. You want to be able to go and create that user for them super quickly. And I'll show you how, for example, with this particular access policy, which is hierarchical, that says basically my own branch only, I'll show you how easily it is to enforce on a particular user. But then I'll go and show you how you can do something super sophisticated, but only one person amongst the HR team need to do that. And you only do it once a year or whatever. That's when you're customizing what we call the bucket system. So in my case, that bucket was designed. I'm an admin person. I need to enforce that policy on a user. So I'll go into back, first of all, to the admin. I was logged on still as Percy, so I'm back now as the admin person. And I go into account settings. And if I go to the users here, let's see if we can find, Percy. We made some changes, you might have noticed it here, to accommodate all that, right? I'll come back to the employee part in here in a sec, but the access control, it was called roles. We made it more generic, called access control, and we have the role here, still there, the role, but it's got also the bucket systems. All I had to do, I'll just remove this for a sec. Imagine that wasn't there. I'll have to go in here, What buckets do I have? This is the bucket I need to be part of because it's literally the bucket's called the children nodes only. Yeah, my own branch only, etc. Sorry, that's the role. The bucket is called my own branch only. That's it. You'll have 1 or 2 or 3 buckets, and the name of the bucket will be self-explanatory. That's all I had to do. Close, and this person now will only be able to see their own nodes when they are in the org chart. That's all you have to do, because that bucket thing has been built. But now to answer your question, how finite the control, how sophisticated the access control can be, let's go and design the bucket. But just want to emphasize that you're not designing a bucket every time you want to add a manager to that policy. You're designing a policy once, and then you just a matter of tagging that user with that policy, I guess, if we want to use the word policy, be in the bucket, because that's what the bucket is, enforcing access policy. Okay, so now that I said that, because I really don't want to confuse you about that, you might say, whoa, that's too complicated or something. You only do it once. All right, so let's have a look at that bucket that we just used and Percy is part of, which was the basis of this demonstration. It's called my own branch only. This nurses thing here, can delete it to not confuse you guys. Doesn't matter. We have 2 buckets. Forget it. So if I go into that bucket, what was that all about? And we'll build it together, another one anyway. We may as well do that. Let's build another one that does the same thing. Show you how long it took me to do this. So I'm going to call it here. I'm going to call it webinar, colon, my own branch nodes only. So only access my own nodes, yeah? Description, copy and paste, I'll do it the same. So in here, the rules or the policy is split into 2 tabs. I know it doesn't look like tabs, that's just the design of it, but that's what they are. So I can go pillars, or I can go org chart based, meaning hierarchical based, really what we should be saying. We shouldn't be called an org chart. Hierarchical based, because it will still be enforced even if you're an employee search. Yeah, we will see in a sec. So really it should be called hierarchical based versus pillars based. Now, let's do the org chart, which is what we just did before, and how easy it was. I go, okay, you've only got these options. All nodes, my own and children nodes, or children only, meaning even myself, I can't give myself a pay rise or start the conversation or the request to give myself pay rise. My manager has to do it, so I can't even edit my own node if that's how you want it to be, which is what we did in that example. So I'll choose that and I'll go save. Almost done. Now what I have to do is, who are the members? So I can leave it now, because you do remember we did it from the users, and we will do that in a sec, show you. Now, the only thing I have to do is the access. So what that means, for all the nodes that fall in that bucket, in this case, my own members, my own team members are the nodes that fall in that bucket, I will have which access. I'm going to elevate the access of the manager to admin. So the global role that they have, as I mentioned before, is very, very minimal. They can't do much, right? But when it comes to a node or an employee that reports to them, they get elevated to admin. But this doesn't have to be admin. It could be your own custom role called manager admin role. And you say, yeah, they can do admin, but not this kind of admin. I don't want them to go and mess up my workflows. They can do admin as far as doing editing and stuff like that on their own employee records, perhaps, and stuff. So even that is customizable. And that's why I was saying it's really, really exciting. So I'll explain what I mean. One more thing. Let me do it from here, or you know what? I'll go back and do it from the user. So now that we have the bucket, I'm going to find this user here, right? Frankie. I'm going to access control again. And oh my gosh, a lot of roles for Frankie. I'll remove the admin. I'll use them just as a hiring manager. And I'm going to add them to this new bucket that we created, which is the webinar one, and done. So if I go back now, just to show you what that means, to the bucket here, I could have added Frankie. That's the membership. I could have done it from here, but I do want to do it just to show you how easy it is for an everyday admin person that's managing the managers, how easy it is. You just do it from that one place that you're familiar with, where the access control is given, which is the user, record. Nevertheless, this is how the bucket system works. When we go to access here, it says we've got a member who is Frankie here, and their global role is a hiring manager. So in general, for every node in your org chart, yeah, they are just the hiring manager access. And that is the one that I customized and was very minimal. They could not do anything, right? They can only see the node and the name of the person and their position. So that's what that role should give them. And that could be your own custom role anyway. However, as part of the bucket, meaning when it comes to their own team members, they get elevated to an admin. That's really the concept here. I will do the sophisticated one in a second. I wanted to explain the one that's based on hierarchy, how it works. Does that make sense?
Does that answer sort of everyone's questions? We had a few questions throughout. But I think you did cover most of it, but let us know if there's anything that you'd like us to go over.
Okay. If that's the case, I'll do another bucket and people can ask questions, and that we'll do the other type of bucket in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the name is going to be, I'm going to call it this is a restaurant business, right? Okay, so we're going to say that location based, okay, site, the Dancing Dingo site, okay, the Dancing Dingo. Dancing Dingo site, and I'll choose the pillars, and I've got a Boolean here, so I can say the location, it's going to be based on a location, and that's the Dancing Dingo. But also I can add even more. So I can create it like that. That means the people, the members that are part of this, they can only access, or you elevate the access to anybody in that location. So all the people that are tagged with that site, all the people, nodes, even vacant position, etc., they would be tagged with a Dancing Dingo because they are part of that site. And that means this will give them elevated access based on that, based on the site. It can be based on the entity, based on the department, based on a division, based on the team, on the project. But what's more powerful than that, it can be even combination of that. So the Dancing Dingo, or meaning either this or, you know what, another property, or although even in here you can have plurality, so they can access those two, right? But I also want to do it not only based on location. I want to add another rule, and there's an or between them, meaning either, and it's based on maybe the division. If I've got any, I'm not sure if this is configured with divisions. Yes, it is. This or that. So there's an or between those, but or between the two rules as well. It's Boolean amongst all your, what we call the pillars. The pillars are the following. The location, so a location is a name of a site plus a proper geolocation for the site. So if I'm editing this, it's got two properties to it, the location, the name, but also a proper geolocation. You start to type and you pick that exact street address, right? That's what that pillar is, very important pillar. Then you've got the, that was renamed to production name. That's probably, I can't remember the original name for this. You've got the division, the department, the team, the project, the region. You can build the relationship between the region and the location. So that region's got multiple properties. You can do that as well. And yeah, so these are your pillars, and you can build the bucket based on that, a Boolean combination amongst those. So I want this, there's a group here of people, of users that are members of that bucket, and where they will be able to have elevated access for people on this project, part of that department, and in this project, specifically to those members.
We've got two users that have just brought to my attention that the bucket section is grayed out for them.
Yeah.
When will this be available?
Great point. It is available. It's been available based on the Boolean for a while, although I'm not sure if it was enforced in the org chart, but nevertheless, it's been there. The reason it's grayed out, thus far, we've had it as an extra cost to have this kind of access control as opposed to the usual access control, which is working within the roles that we have. So to be able to create your own roles, but also to be able to create the buckets, to have this elevated, it is a lot of work, guys. It is a huge piece of research and development. We will continue to work on it. It needs to be still a lot of work to still even going forward be done on it. So at the moment, it's an extra cost, but extremely affordable. So reach out and we can give you a quote based on your organization and stuff. It's extremely affordable. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to answer that question. I don't like to talk commercial on this call. It sounds like I'm selling things now. My apologies. I really didn't even perceive that question will come up. But yeah, that's so far what we've done. This might change in the future, but at the moment, to give you an idea, it's extremely affordable. 1,000 people organization might pay $2,000 a year for it or something like that. It's really not a huge thing.
Lovely. Whilst we're here as well, Jane asks, so in the example org chart, what if the CEO was a casual waiter for the restaurant manager? Could the restaurant manager see the CEO's salary?
Okay, are you trying to confuse me on purpose? Is this a quiz?
Yes.
I need a coffee before I can answer this. Okay, let me see if I can get made around.
Yeah.
Go slowly again.
Yeah.
If the CEO
was a casual waiter
Sure.
for the
In
restaurant
one of the
manager,
restaurant. Yeah.
could the restaurant manager see the CEO's salary?
Okay, let's do this. So we want, correct me on that, we want Aaron to also be reporting to Percy in a position of, did you say waiter? Doesn't matter, but yeah, something.
Waiter for
okay,
the
let's do it.
restaurant manager.
So we're going to do it. Okay, I'm going to create a note here. Because we're an admin, we can do that without, we're using the admin tools as opposed to proper requests and approvals to do all that. So we're going to do that super quickly. Assign a position. Do we have a waiter? We'll create it if we don't. Yep, we have waiter. Sorry, it was waiter, right?
Yes.
Not as if it makes a
If
difference.
the CEO was a casual waiter for the
Yeah,
restaurant
yeah.
manager.
Yeah, beautiful. So that's the waiter position gets created here, and we're going to assign as opposed to going through the change of condition or recruitment process. As an admin person, you can use that assign. So we're going to assign Aaron into it. Cool. So we've got now Aaron as a waiter reporting to Percy, but still also the CEO. Does that so far capture what the scenario is?
She
Cool.
says yes.
So what is the question now?
It was if the restaurant manager could see the CEO's salary.
Oh, that's a very good point. That's $1 million point, maybe 2 million. Okay, so let me take you through this one example. Okay, if we go into Aaron's and we go into, this is something we're working on now. It's going to be amazing very soon, but I hate it right now, this page, but it's extremely powerful. So if you go into work history and then position history, we show you all the positions. So you can see he's a waiter and a CEO. And the idea here, therefore, as I was saying to you before, you can do change of conditions, employee updates for Aaron in that position separately from the one CEO. And you want to do offboarding, you do it separately, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all there, and they are both current. And the question was the singing, exactly, sing. So the details and the packs and stuff, I don't know if we do it now, but we can certainly do it because as you can see, clearly there are two different things. So I was just going to say, this should show you not much history for the waiter, but if, all the pay information, the remuneration, et cetera, would go under here, and we can, and we should be able to bring it onto the security blanket. So I know it's a little bit vague there, but I know it's a good question. I know we can do it. And maybe it doesn't enforce that right now. So maybe right now we can test it quickly. As a matter of fact, if I log on back under Percy, I have a feeling that, was it Percy? Yeah, I have a feeling that she'll be able to access his record, but we can definitely enforce it where she can access his record only in that position, meaning his pay in that position as opposed to his pay there. We can certainly do that. As I showed you, they are two different things, but I have a feeling it's not the case right now. So We can test it, but really doesn't matter. If this is important for you and you do already use the org chart, or you want to take up the org chart, I can assure you we'll get it done at the right time for you. It's a very good point. Thank you. That's a very thoughtful point.
Beautiful. Susie's asking, could you log into Percy to see what she can see at this point?
Oh yeah, as a to test it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Why not? That's really interesting because it gives me an opportunity to explain to you how you can customize the access, because we only talked about they can access those employees, and we can go into the details of that now. It's good. So if I'll search on Percy to shortcut it quickly. Cool, here's Percy. That's the records there. We can expect that she can see Lisa's record, etc. We blocked all the pay here anyway. So at the moment they are limited what they can see, but nevertheless, if we go into the record, yeah, to your point, they can go into the record. But here's the interesting thing: if you don't want to see any pay data, then you can do that. So I'll show you. So if we go back as the admin, this is really actually interesting. I should have explained that point. So thank you for reminding us to go through it. And go back to the account settings. Okay, in the account settings, if we look at the roles, the current role, the custom role that this owner of the account here created is the manager's own employees. But what does it actually mean, you created a role? If we go into it, that's the level of control that you have. Every module in the platform, job and posting, application management, e-forms, you can see the control. In the org chart, I only said they can only view the nodes, yeah, under that role. Account, so they don't have access to do anything else. So for example, I'm just going to collapse them all so we've got a bird eye view of the how finite the access control is, how flexible, and the depth of it. So it's about 400 different permissions. That's how customizable it is. Sorry. Cool. So in saying that, if there should be something here called candidate management or candidate management and candidate profile or something, and I can make that part of the access so they can see the candidate profile and which tab they can see. Remember when we went into the candidate employee record, all the tabs were grayed out. I can give them access to certain tabs. So what's missing here, within that tab, the history, the position history, we will create a new permission that says see all positions versus see only positions based on the reporting line or something like that. And you'll be able to therefore create that role appropriately like that and say, therefore, they can only see that. So we can, that's how it will be done. When I promise you we can do it, that's why I'm confident. Just a matter of creating a permission here to really distinguish between seeing all positions on the position history versus those positions that participate in based on the policy.
Lovely.
But that gives you an idea, guys, indirectly, I guess, as I'm answering that point or explaining how we would do it and why it's possible. I guess I'm showing you the depth of control that you'll have. You'll be able to create your own role for the managers and say, in general, that's what managers can do. But when they are accessing their own team members, they get elevated to another role. You call it elevated access for managers. So both will be custom roles, or you give them the admin if you want. But if you think the admin is too much because they can do workflows and whatever, then you go, no, I'll do another one called elevated access for managers, or access for their own members. And that will be given to the bucket, and the global role would be the usual one that will give them the exact access you want them to access. You get the idea now, guys, how you can build out these roles based on these about 400 different permissions in various parts of the platform.
Jane says, sounds good. A couple of people just asked if there was a user manual or maybe a bit of a sort of fact sheet could be made in regards to the pillar, as she feels like she missed out that step in the system.
I totally agree. I can 100% have full empathy that to some of you, maybe all of you, as a matter of fact, it is a bit overwhelming. There's serious information there, Boolean and pillars and a blah and a bucket. I mean, so many concepts. So you have my full empathy, but believe me, if and when you want to use it, get in touch. As a matter of fact, maybe Georgia, you want to take a note down that we should do.
She's worked it out now. It's all good across pillars.
Okay.
But in future,
I was just saying, Georgia, take a note maybe that we should do a webinar just focusing on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Working with the custom roles and the bucket system. So the whole hour on that. I think we should do that. So it is a bit overwhelming, but really, if you need a hand, once we show you how to do it, it's really straightforward. And as I said, this is not something that every admin person has to do. As a business, you do it once and maybe you play with it every 3-4 months. One person is doing maybe small little adjustments, but the business as usual, as I said, it's so easy. You go to that user and say, which role do we want to give them and which bucket they're part of, and that is it.
Beautiful. I've just popped up there a poll, maybe to wrap this sort of up as well. If the bucket model caters for your business's privacy policies, so we can get a little gauge on that. If anyone has any other questions regarding the
one thing I wanted to quickly show the folks is the employee search. I know we ran out of time. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Guys, we still have some time, but I appreciate you if you can stick around for a minute if you have to go, just to explain 2 things that are coming up. First of all, the access control that we've talked about. So if I go back in as Percy, the employee search, if you want to give the managers access to the employee search, the new employee search, which is the search 2.0, which is in beta, and that is, we're going to now focus on it. It's been sitting in the same sort of state for about maybe 6 to 12 months. Not much has been done on it, but now we're focusing on it almost full time. You're going to find in about 4 weeks time, it's going to be world class. But I'll show you the fundamentals that are working here. It's really built with the latest and greatest tech, super fast, super flexible. The search capability, so you can say, show me how many employees I've got, show me how many people in that position, etc. But show me from the employment type point of view, the permanent full-time. But can you see how fast it is? It's almost instant. And because I'm logged on as a manager and the access control is to only access my own records, can you see, I only see the people that report to me, right? Yes, I'm sorry. That's 3 people that report to Percy. I'm sorry, but 2 people happen to be in permanent full-time. So if you go to casual, there's 1 person. If you go to fixed term, there's none. So it's only working within the 3 employees that report to Percy. So we also enforce the same policy from the bucket that you did, and you only did once. You said that user now belongs to this policy. It's also enforced in the new employee search that's coming up. And that's going to be really exciting, and it will work hand in hand with there's another menu item in here, which is the dashboard. So the dashboard and this will be able to break down, for example, how many positions do I have in total in the org chart? How many, whether you do it from here or whether you do it from the org chart. If you remember that report here, at the moment it's very basic. We're working on that to be very, very powerful. So whether you do it from here or whether you come here and you use the dashboard, I know you can't see the dashboards being removed from here for this user, but there's a dashboard menu and the search. So let me say it this way. There'll be in here dashboard page. There's the search page, employee search page, and the org chart. They will all be on the same page, and you will be able to get the breakdown of how many positions in total, how many filled, how many vacant, what's the FTE, total FTE amongst the filled, total FTE amongst the vacant, total FTE for the company, how many volunteers do I have, how many external contracts do I have, all that breakdown, the gender, the blah, 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 that's all going to be possible, filtered on, as well as pie chart kind of report as well through the dashboard and all that. That is right now the focus that we are working on. You're going to see this stuff really, really world-class, say, to be realistic, over the next 3 months. Just every week, you're going to see improvements every single week in those areas.
Some good feedback. Rachel says that the dashboard is a major priority for the monthly reporting. So
yes.
great.
Thanks for the feedback, Rachel.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Do we have any other questions relating to what we've spoken about today? Oh, Laura's asked, can that staff information then be exported?
Yeah, we've always had the sorry, the name was? Laura, sorry, Laura. We've always had the export, but this page will have also export on it. It'll be literally world-class. We always have to honor the export, as I showed you with the export from the org chart. But when we do export, like at the moment, you can even customize the data you want to export, meaning the columns in the spreadsheet. We do it already in the old database, but that I want to get you to that page. I can't wait to do that and make this page the key page for the employees for many reasons. I don't want to bore you with it right now, but as I go back to admin, this is the current search for employees. And there's always been an export in here. You can have full control of the different custom fields, any custom field that you've collected against the employee. You can say, that's what the columns that I want, and then start to export. You can even say, I want to export it on a regular basis. Every fortnight, I want to export it. Every night, I want to export it. Starting a background process to do it regularly. So we've always had that, and we will honor that on the new page. So to explain, this page is going to go, and it's going to be replaced with this page.
Beautiful. Laura says, thank you very much. Elizabeth asks, lots of this information will be great in the WGEA gender report. Can this product also report the recruitment in its simple data too?
The recruitment as opposed to the employees. She's saying something similar for the recruitment. Is that really what you're saying? Yeah. With there's already, when it comes to gender and stuff like that, we already have that for the recruitment. You might have not noticed, or forgive me if you know and you don't think it works for you, but I believe it's pretty good and everybody uses it. Laura, let me just point it out. So this stuff in here, pretty much a lot of it is around recruitment. The first one is the job report. What that does, you can customize it here and stuff. Are you aware of these reports? So maybe what we can do, if you haven't used these reports, so to give you an idea in terms of what you just said about the gender, if on the application form you've got the gender system field that captures the gender, or even your own custom, but you shouldn't have the custom. You should use the platform-wide system field because it participates automatically with different reports. So if you look at the jobs report, this is about the jobs, I guess. The progress report, you can say, I want for all my jobs. I want for all my jobs in this period of time that you build it all customizable, range, month, quarter, etc. I want to show me all the candidates that came through, and these are the different custom fields about the candidate, including the gender, including whatever else that you decide. So you can customize those fields that you want, and show me when they applied, show me what stage they're in at the moment, whether they've been rejected or whether they've been progressed, the stage they are currently in. And it's got a bunch of different metrics, how long it took you to maybe hire, fill that position. It's a really, really powerful report, that both job report and the progress report. I encourage you to take a look at it. But please give us a hand, call support or account manager if you need a hand to get you going with them.
Rachel suggests a webinar reporting would be quite useful.
Totally agree with that.
I'll make a note of that for sure.
Yep, thank you for that. Good point.
And as to the WGEA looks at promotions, new recruits terminated by gender and employment status, pay grades in the past year. Elizabeth has just added that on.
I think, that's
would be really helpful.
So was that Rachel, did you say?
So Rachel and Elizabeth are both.
I really thank you for that point, guys. That's a really, really good point. I think you can do a lot of that already, but I have to acknowledge We want to do better, make it easier. That's why we're doing a brand new dashboard from the ground up technology that we're using for the employee search and for the dashboard and for the org chart. We definitely, that's the crux of the matter. That's the bottom line kind of thing, reporting that people want to see. And that is what we will be doing going forward. That's the key focus right now.
Beautiful. Any other questions relating to the org chart or another feature? Anyone have anything?
So with the progress report, you can make it only about the people that progressed, and you can then because it's showing you the stage, you can in the spreadsheet in Excel, you can then do a filter on those stages that are onboarded or completed or whatever. So oh, actually, I'm sorry, the placement report, because that's the people that were placed. And that does the same thing, and it's got so many columns to it, and you can customize the columns. It's a really powerful report, and that would be about the people you placed in a certain period of time, and it shows you the milestones, how long it took you for the placement to happen, etc. Key metrics for the recruitment stuff, and of course you can include the gender and stuff part of that in terms of against that person. So that will give you what you want straight away now. Although I do acknowledge we want to make things even provide more options on reporting and dashboard and stuff, but certainly that would be what you're looking for. I'm almost confident it can deliver on what you want, but please reach out if you play with it and you don't think it's going to do it.
She's impressed. Thank you. Beautiful. Belinda asked a question earlier about org charts. Oh, okay. So Belinda's got a question. So she says, we are a school. We have teachers reporting to head of learning area, but they can be a head of house, which is a middle management position also. And they report to 2 line managers. How could this be shown on an org chart? Okay, this is again, I think you're testing my intelligence today, guys. I'm joking. Thank you for your question. It might take me a few minutes to do this. Do you think I'm offering, if you can reach out to me or to Georgia, whichever you can remember, Anwar at martianlogic.com or Georgia at, and I will coordinate a session on Zoom with you, your team, etc., and we'll go through this. I'm just run out of brain power at the moment. I think I need some food and coffee. My sincere apologies. So yeah, reach out, Belinda. She says she appreciates it. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. Lovely. We can tee that up for sure. Okay. Anything else from you, Anwar? No, we covered everything we want to cover. I'm really grateful for some of the amazing questions. Definitely. That helped us to unravel and some nuances and really deep features, and very, very good. Love it. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you everyone for taking the time to join us. Hopefully, you can walk away feeling a little bit more confident in using the org chart features. And our next topic is onboarding and employee updates. So that'll be held on March 28. So pop that in your diaries and look out in your inbox for further information. That'll have that webinar invite as well. I think it's popping up on your screen now. So you can register now. Oh, that's the link? Oh, great. That's the link up there. Yep. So feel free to register. And we might just also pop up another poll question for everyone if they can answer that one as well. And please, if you've got any concerns, reach out to me directly or to your account managers. We've got really an amazing team right now under Janine's leadership. If you feel your account managers or support don't have the kind of empathy that you expect, I so want to hear about that, guys. We want to be that kind of company that actually listens with empathy and understanding, no matter what. Even if sometimes we can't do it, we say, look, we're really sorry. We understand what you're saying, but this feature not going to be done for the next 3 years, right? But we want to at least listen. And if you don't feel you're getting that, I really want to know. Please reach out directly to me. Beautiful. Oh, Rachel says, Chris on support is brilliant, and Trish says Lewis has been amazing.
Excellent. Excellent.
Beautiful. All right. I think that should be all for now. So hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week. Thanks again for joining us. And yeah, reach out and we'll chat again in 2 weeks' time for the next webinar.
And big bravo for Georgia on her first time on the webinar. First time she does any of this.
Yeah.
So that is not bad. Pretty impressive, young lady. I'm proud of you. Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you for
very
your
much.
help
Nice to
with all
meet
this.
everyone as well.
Yep.
All
Thank you,
right.
guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk to you soon. Cheers.
Bye.